Time has always been like a riddle no one can truly solve. Once it slips away, it never comes back. Whatever happened in the past cannot be erased, and no one has the power to pause it or hold it in their hands. But imagine if somehow the universe gave you a chance to step into the past and rewrite events that shaped your life. This is where our story begins, with a girl named Laura. One afternoon, Laura was searching frantically for something in her room. Outside the door, her friend Chloe called out, asking what had happened and why she was in such a hurry. But Laura had already found what she was looking for, a dusty old tape recorder. The moment she pressed play, strange glitches rippled through the air around her. The space itself seemed to bend and flicker, and by the time Chloe entered the room, Laura had vanished without a trace. To understand what happened, the story pulls us back 4 years earlier. Laura and Chloe were sitting on a beach watching waves roll in. Laura, who dreamed of becoming a painter, sketched the seashore and proudly showed her friend her work. Chloe smiled but teased her that her art meant little if she stayed single forever. She decided it was time for Laura to meet her stepbrother Harrison, who worked at a music store nearby. When the two visited the shop, Laura met Harrison for the first time. He worked part-time there before starting medical college, though his heart had always been drawn to music. Inside the store, he showed Laura a wall where people had left dozens of mixtapes as personal memories. From that very first meeting, something clicked between them, and in the days that followed, Laura and Harrison began to see each other more often. Their bond grew quickly, almost naturally. During this time, Harrison also shared more about himself with Laura. He told her that he was actually a medical student, but before starting college, he had decided to work part-time at the music store because he had always loved music. While showing Laura around, he introduced her to Cooper, the kind and wise owner of the store. Cooper, who had seen many young people pass through his shop, gave them a suggestion. Like many couples and friends before them, they too should make a mixtape together and leave it on the memory wall of the store. That way, even when time moved forward, a part of their story would always remain there. Both Laura and Harrison loved the idea. By now, cassette tapes were no longer in use. People everywhere had moved on to MP3 players and digital music. But the thought of preserving one last memory in such an old-fashioned way felt special. It was like freezing a piece of their time together. From this moment, their mixtape project became something deeply meaningful for both of them, something that pulled them even closer. One evening, Laura received wonderful news. She had been accepted into a local art college. She wouldn't need to leave her hometown after all. Overjoyed, she rushed to share it with Harrison. He celebrated with her, though he too had something important to tell. But before he could speak, the ground shook violently. An earthquake struck, cutting their conversation short. Days later, the group gathered at the beach again. Chloe's arrogant boyfriend, Bob, cruelly broke up with her. Heartbroken, she soon found comfort in a new friend, Sam. Despite the drama, Laura and Harrison grew closer. Inspired by the wall of mixtapes in the store, they decided to create their own tape together. One last physical memory in a world that was now moving toward digital music. It became a project that brought them joy and made their connection even stronger. Life seemed bright until one evening when Laura was invited to Harrison's house for dinner. There, his parents accidentally revealed the truth Harrison had been too afraid to admit. He had received an admission letter to one of the country's most prestigious medical colleges, but it was far away in another city. Laura was stunned. Harrison explained that this was the secret he had wanted to share the night of the earthquake. He had hesitated, afraid of hurting her, but now he had already made a decision. He would give up the offer and stay by Laura's side. Laura was overwhelmed. She didn't want to be the reason Harrison abandoned his dream. At a celebration at the music store, where its owner Cooper was marking 40 years of business, Laura and Harrison enjoyed the moment together. Yet as her own first art exhibition drew near, the weight of Harrison's sacrifice pressed on her heart. One evening, she pulled him aside and pleaded with him to reconsider. She told him she would never forgive herself if his future was ruined because of her. But Harrison held firm. He had chosen love over ambition, and he was ready to live with that choice. The next morning was special. It was Laura's birthday. Harrison surprised her with a small necklace, simple yet filled with meaning. They laughed, ran away from the noise of the town, and hid under a bridge where Laura revealed a painting she had secretly made of both of them together. Harrison smiled, holding her hand, and for a moment it felt as if nothing in the world could ever separate them. Everything was perfect, but neither of them knew that life was preparing to change everything. The following day, Laura woke up to find a folded note resting near her bed. It was from Harrison. He wrote that the first side of their mixtape was finally complete, and now they should carefully choose the songs for the second side. He added that he wanted to go surfing early in the morning, alone, just to clear his mind. Laura smiled at the note, not realizing it would be the last thing he ever wrote to her. That same morning, Harrison walked toward the beach, his headphones playing music loudly. As he crossed the road, lost in rhythm, he didn't notice the car speeding toward him. In a sudden, brutal instant, it hit him. Harrison was killed on the spot. When the news reached Laura, her world collapsed. This was the boy who had given up his future, his career, everything, just to be with her, and now he was gone. In her grief, she destroyed the paintings she had made of the two of them, her tears smearing the colors into nothing. She no longer knew what to do with herself. With trembling hands, she placed their unfinished mixtape on the wall of Cooper's music store, hoping that leaving it there would help her forget. Cooper, watching quietly from a distance, said nothing. He knew her pain was too heavy for words. Time did not heal her. 4 years passed, but Laura remained frozen in that moment. She stopped painting altogether. The art that once defined her replaced only by silence. Instead, she took up surfing, perhaps because it was something Harrison loved. Every wave reminded her of him. Every dawn felt incomplete. On this day, 4 years later, Laura forced herself to attend Chloe's wedding. She didn't want to go, but she couldn't refuse her closest friend. Chloe, radiant in her dress, hugged Laura tightly and whispered that she was grateful Bob had left her back then, because only through that heartbreak had she met Sam, the man who truly cared for her. Laura smiled faintly, but her heart still carried the weight of her own loss. Later, Laura asked Chloe about Harrison's parents. Chloe's face grew somber as she explained that after Harrison's death, his parents divorced. They too had never been able to let go of his memory. At the wedding, Laura also met Cooper, the quiet guardian of the music store where Harrison had once worked and where their mixtape still hung. Cooper looked at her with gentle eyes and told her he knew she had abandoned painting the day Harrison died. He knew she hadn't been able to let go of him, even after 4 years. But Laura, he said softly, it's time to move forward. You cannot stay in the past forever. And then from his coat pocket, he pulled out the old mixtape, the one Laura and Harrison had created together. He placed it in her hands, saying she should listen to it one last time and then let it go. Forget Harrison, not to erase him, but to free herself. Although Laura knew deep inside that Harrison could never truly be forgotten, she gathered the courage to press play on the old cassette. She wanted, at least once, to relive those lost days, those evenings filled with laughter, music, and the warmth of Harrison's presence. She slipped on her earphones and let the first song begin. But in the very next moment, the world around her shifted. The lights, the air, the noise, everything changed. Suddenly, she was no longer at Chloe's wedding. She was standing in the middle of a party, surrounded by music and voices, and there he was, Harrison, alive, smiling, unaware of his fate. Laura froze in disbelief, her eyes filling with tears, and before she could stop herself, she rushed into his arms. Harrison was stunned by her sudden outburst, asking what had happened to her. She clung to him, trembling, wondering if this was a dream. As she looked around, it all felt familiar. She realized this was the same party she had once attended with Harrison, the very first time that particular song had been playing. Laura's heart raced. She had traveled to the past. She tried desperately to warn Harrison, blurting out that he would die in a tragic accident. But before she could explain fully, the song ended. Just as quickly as she had arrived, she was pulled back into the present, her earphones still in place, the cassette whirring softly. Confused and shaken, Laura pieced it together. Each song on the mixtape was tied to a specific memory with Harrison. Whenever she played one, she could slip into that exact moment in the past. She decided to test her theory. She pressed play on the next track. In a blink, she found herself on the beach, the sky glowing orange as the sun dipped into the horizon. It was the very day she and Harrison had gone to watch the sunset together, moments before the earthquake struck. This time, Laura wasted no time. She grabbed Harrison's hands and told him everything, that she was from the future, that he would die in an accident the day after her birthday, September 25th, and that he must not leave home that morning. Harrison laughed nervously, unsure whether to take her seriously. Why are you acting so strange again? Just like that night at the party. You were different for a while, and then suddenly back to normal. Laura's mind clicked. It meant that whenever she returned to the present, the Laura of this timeline continued as though nothing had happened, forgetting everything. But Harrison, the one she warned, still remembered. If she could convince him, maybe she could change the future. To prove she wasn't lying, she whispered that an earthquake would strike within seconds. And just as she said it, the ground trembled violently beneath their feet. Harrison's eyes widened in shock. Now he understood. This was real. Then as before, the song ended, and Laura was yanked back into the present. But this time, her heart carried hope. She had warned Harrison. Perhaps the future was no longer fixed. Perhaps he had survived. Without waiting, Laura ran to his house. Bursting through the door, she found Chloe instead. Breathless, Laura poured out the truth about the tape, the songs, the memories, the time travel. the warnings she had given Harrison. Chloe listened, baffled, unable to believe such a thing was possible. When Laura tried to pull her into the experiment, Chloe shook her head. It wasn't her story, her memories. The tape responded only to Laura because it was her love, her bond, her pain that was locked inside it. Just then, Chloe's husband came out of the house, raising his voice angrily. Laura froze. It wasn't Sam, it was Bob, the same Bob who had cruelly broken Chloe's heart years ago. Somehow, the past Laura had tampered with had altered more than just Harrison's fate. By saving Harrison, she had also changed Chloe's life. In this timeline, Chloe had never met Sam, the gentle man who cared for her. Instead, she had ended up married to Bob, who was loud, arrogant, and violent. Laura staggered under the same bridge where once she and Harrison had shared secret laughter, only to see that her drawings were ruined again. But this time, they looked slightly different, as if reality itself had redrawn them. Her hands trembled as she searched online for Harrison's name. Hope flickered, only to shatter. Harrison was still dead. The date and the cause had changed. This time it wasn't the car accident. He had fallen from a hill during a trek. Her heart sank. She realized the truth. Yes, she could change the way things happened, but fate still dragged Harrison back to death. That meant she had to go back again. Quickly, she pressed play on the next song, the one tied to a memory of her showing Harrison her paintings. The world spun, and in an instant, she was there again, Harrison's eyes fixed on her canvas. Without wasting a moment, she confessed. She had already changed the future once, but even then Harrison had died. This time she begged him, stay away from the mountains. Harrison didn't look shocked anymore. By now he remembered. Twice before, future Laura had slipped into his present, warning him of different dooms. After you leave, he admitted softly, the Laura here, she doesn't remember anything. It's like nothing happened for her, but I remember. Laura's chest tightened. She told him something crucial. Because she's the Laura of this timeline, you must never reveal anything about me to her. Promise me that. Then with a heavy voice, she gave him a new date, the day fate would strike, and told him not to step outside. As the song faded, she was pulled back to the present. Heart pounding, she rushed under the bridge again, desperate to see if she had finally broken the cycle. But the paintings had changed once more, their shapes twisted, unfamiliar. She searched online again. Harrison was gone, this time electrocuted by a faulty wire. Laura broke down. Fate wasn't just cruel, it was stubborn. Every attempt she made simply replaced one tragedy with another, but she refused to give up. She buried herself in books and articles about time travel, paradoxes, fixed timelines, branching universes, theories of causality. She realized one terrifying truth. Her cassette was finite. She couldn't rewind it. Each song once used was gone forever. Each trip to the past was one less chance to save him. She had only a handful of songs left, and when they ran out, her link to the past would vanish forever. Armed with this knowledge, Laura tried again. She chose another song, one that carried her to the night of the tape store party. She pulled Harrison aside and confessed something new, that Chloe's life had also changed because of her meddling. Chloe was trapped with Bob, miserable, when in the original timeline she had married Sam, the man who truly loved her. Harrison's face darkened as he realized the weight of Laura's actions. Her attempts to save him were tearing holes in everyone else's lives. But before Laura could explain further, her foot slipped on a spilled drink. She tumbled backward, then everything dissolved. She was back in the present. Gasping, she looked around. Something was wrong. The mixtape, their mixtape, was gone. Panic clawed at her chest. Without it, she had no way back. She ran to the tape store, praying it would still be there, hanging on the memory wall where she'd left it years ago. But when she arrived, her stomach dropped. The store didn't exist anymore. The building was nothing but an empty lot, blackened by fire. Neighbors told her that years ago, a blaze had consumed the music shop during a party. The cause had always been unclear, and then the realization struck her like lightning. That night at the party, when she slipped and fell, her fall had tipped over a candle, a spark, something small. That was the fire. She had caused it. By going back, she hadn't just failed to save Harrison, she had destroyed the very place that held the key to her time travel. Now standing in the ashes of the tape store, Laura understood the horror of her situation. Every attempt to fix the past had only broken it more. Laura somehow found the address of Cooper, the old music store owner, and went to meet him. She hoped that maybe he still had the mixtape. At first, Cooper was upset with her. He still blamed her for the fire that had destroyed his store that night. But after Laura apologized sincerely, he softened. After searching for a while, he finally found the mixtape she had made with Harrison and handed it to her. Laura quickly tried to play it, but her cassette player's battery had died. Cooper, curious now, put the tape into his own player. The song started again from the same point where it had stopped the last time, the night of the party when she had slipped. This time, Laura saw clearly how a candle was about to fall onto the curtain. She rushed forward and stopped it, saving the store from burning down. She then quickly told Harrison that only 2 songs were left on the tape. Since she couldn't rewind, she had just 2 chances left to save him. She warned him to stay away from anything dangerous, especially electricity. Then the song ended, and Laura was pulled back to the present. When she looked around, she noticed everything had changed again. Because the fire never happened, the store was still standing, and Cooper never had to leave his home. Laura felt relieved that at least this mistake had been corrected. But when she ran to Chloe to check on Harrison, she got heartbreaking news. Harrison had still died. This time, it was a car accident, and even his father had been with him, both gone in the crash. Laura realized something painful. Small changes wouldn't be enough. If she really wanted to save him, she would have to make a bigger sacrifice. She played the next song, which brought her back to the day of her art exhibition. This time, she told Harrison firmly that they had to leave everything behind. He should go away, join the medical college, and start his life far from here. Maybe that was the only way to save him. When Laura returned to the present, she called his number again and again, praying he might be alive. But the truth crushed her. Harrison had still died, even this time. Worse, in this timeline, he had never even broken up with her. Now only one last song remained, one final chance. When she pressed play, she was taken back to her birthday. Tears and frustration spilled out as she shouted at Harrison, asking why he had not left for medical school as she had begged him to. But Harrison held her hands gently and told her the truth. After the future Laura always left, the Laura of that time went back to normal, forgetting everything. He could never leave her. Not like that. If death was coming for him, then he would rather face it than run away. Laura's heart broke completely. She understood. No matter how many times she tried, no matter how many changes she made, Harrison's death was written. Nothing could change it. When the last song ended, Laura was pulled back into the present one final time. The cassette was now useless. She would never be able to go to the past again. And now, whether she liked it or not, she had no choice left but to accept the reality of losing him. Now in this timeline, Harrison was no longer alive. And because of Laura's mistakes, Chloe had ended up with Bob, a man who made her unhappy in marriage. Laura finally accepted this reality and tried to live with it. Time moved forward, and one Christmas evening she was celebrating with Chloe. When a song ended, Chloe asked Laura to flip the cassette and play its B-side. Laura went to do it casually, but then suddenly froze. She realized something she had never noticed before. Every tape had 2 sides. She had only been playing the A side of her mixtape all this time. Her hands shook as she quickly flipped the tape open and saw another track waiting on the other side. This meant one thing. She still had one final chance left to set everything right. Heart pounding, Laura ran upstairs with the tape player. And in that moment, the story looped back to the very beginning. The scene where Chloe knocked on Laura's door, asking what she was doing. But before Chloe entered, Laura had already vanished, pulled into the past once again. This time she found herself at the very start, back when Chloe had first introduced her to Harrison at the music store. Only this time, Laura made a painful but deliberate choice. Instead of walking inside, she stayed back. She never met Harrison in this timeline. She never entered his life, and he never waited for her. As she made this choice, everything began to shift. When Laura returned to the present, the world had changed again. Chloe was happily married to Sam, the man who truly cared for her, rather than trapped with Bob. Harrison's father was alive and well. And then suddenly there was a knock at the door. Laura opened it, and her breath caught. Standing there was Harrison, alive. He explained that he had gone away to medical college 4 years ago and had just returned home for Christmas. He had never met Laura in this timeline, so he looked at her as a stranger. But Laura remembered everything: the love, the loss, the pain, the desperate attempts to save him. And though her heart ached, she was relieved. Harrison was safe. That was all that mattered. Smiling shyly, Harrison added that even though this was their first meeting, she looked strangely familiar to him, as if fate itself was nudging them together once again. Laura's eyes filled with quiet tears, but this time they were tears of peace. The story ended not with despair, but with a new beginning. Harrison alive, Chloe happy, and Laura finally free to let go. And with that, this time travel story comes to a close. How did you like the video? Do let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such time travel stories. Thank you for watching.